How'd you wake up this morning at 5:16? We're also tracking the results of 4 statewide initiatives.
So let's get right to King 5. Savannah Welch, who's live at the King County Elections headquarters in Renton with more on those numbers. Good morning, Savannah.
Good morning, Jake and Mimi. Yeah, one ballot measure voters are rejecting this morning is Measure 2117, with latest results showing 62% voting no. This means that Washington's Climate Commitment Act will stay in effect. It allows the state to charge top polluters for carbon emissions and use revenue for other projects. Now, this was spearheaded by hedge fund manager Brian Haywood. He pointed to the rising cost of gas prices as the key issue behind the push for 2117. Now, on the other side, those against the initiative pointed to the $5 billion or so that would go into state projects that they argued would be lost if the Climate Commitment Act were to be repealed. And that's on top of environmental and climate related issues. Now, we'll hear from Haywood in a second, but first let's hear from Governor Jay Inslee. He was part of the coalition to reject 2117.
We're not just the light, we're the hammer, okay? And we have hammered these people who had the effrontery to come into the greenest, coolest, most innovative, most collaborative, most caring, most beautiful state in the solar system and try to take away the future of our grandchildren, and we're having none of it. This wasn't just a beating of these people, it was a thrashing. This was a great victory for the people of the state of Washington.
That's where all the money went. They were just pounding money, and the ads, frankly, were pure dishonesty. There were these smokestacks that were suddenly going to come growing out of the ground, and there was a lie about infrastructure. The cap and trade is not allowed to fund roads and bridges, but they were able to say on air with $40 million that traffic was going to get worse and that the skies were going to get filled with smoke. And if I had $40 million to pound back at them and I could lie about them, I could convince people to believe whatever, and I think that's what they did.
Now, as for another measure on the ballot, 2066, that race is still too close to call. It aims to slow down a state law meant to reduce carbon output by phasing out natural gas. Right now, it's leaning toward yes, and that means that utilities must provide natural gas options if people request them. Now, coming up in the next half hour, I'll have more on the 2 other ballot measures. One of those, the race is still a little bit too close to call, but one we do have an answer this morning. In Renton, Savannah Welch, King 5 News.
Thank you, Savannah. So let's take a closer look real quick at how voters in Washington voted on both of these initiatives. On I-2117, you can see it's pretty evenly split on both sides of the mountains. I want to draw your attention to the fact that only 2 counties in western Washington, Lewis and Cowlitz counties, voted to approve this initiative. Now looking at I-2066, all but 5 counties right now in our state have voted to approve this initiative. Looking at Whatcom County, this is really interesting as I zoom in here. The difference right now in Whatcom County, only 921 votes on that initiative. Jake.
Unbelievable. Yeah, stark contrast there, county by county. Thanks, Mimi. For the latest results, and there are a lot of them locally and nationally, you can text the word results to us to 206-448-4545. We will send a link right to your phone.